Hey everybody, my name is Steven and welcome back to the Storytime channel. Without wasting any time, let's get into our stories of the day. Entitled Mother uses my things for college for her advantage. My family friend, I'll call her my teacher, is an ex-cosmetologist and ex-beautician teacher and now owns several highly rated salons/spas, hair coloring, cutting, styling, manicures, pedicures, and makeup. She knew I also wanted to do those things, but I am currently going to college to become a music teacher. She decided since she has a salon near my college, she would teach me her old lessons / what was required to be taught on weekends after the shop closed, or my days off and in the afternoon in exchange for working reception and as her assistant, booking appointments, greeting, checking people in, grabbing things, and doing errands if needed. She also said when I got my license, she would hire me there so I can work during the last years of my college, 5-year degree. My dad gave me a loan to buy the things I would need to be able to do it once he found out, over $1,000, and I could take out more if needed, for only this, and make payments whenever, no interest charged. My teacher gave me her old makeup kit, no makeup, just something for transporting it easily in, that only was dirty and didn't have locks on it. And my dad painted it white and painted cherry blossoms with my name in big neon pink letters on it for an Easter gift to me. I leave my kit in my room, in the corner, behind my dresses for my musical performances for college, since quarantine. Now, my stepmom is just getting interested in makeup. I give her tips and a list of what products would be good for her skin. Mature, dry, sensitive skin. I even told her I'd give her a discount if she wanted me to do her makeup. The price of the products used only. Her response was, "Why can't you do it for free? We're family." My entitled mother alarms were going off. I told her I need to pay the loans I have and left when she started getting mad. I already didn't like nor respect her at this time. If I leave for a night, I lock my bedroom door and bring the only key to my bedroom in the house with me. I went to a family barbecue for Memorial Day weekend. 2 aunts, 2 uncles, my grandfather, my teacher, her boyfriend, my mom, myself, and my 2 cousins, 1, 6, 1, 4, and stayed 2 nights. When I came back, my bedroom door was unlocked, which was a red flag since it's a force of habit to lock it. I looked and saw my kit in the middle of the room, open. That was a red flag factory. I just broke down and cried. My dad saw me and saw what was in my room. He knew that it was all wrong. My stepmom comes down, wearing the makeup from the kit, and wondered what was wrong. My dad asked her what she had done, and my stepmom told her, "Well, I made a copy of her key and borrowed your stuff. Makeup is cheap, you can replace it." I almost punched her. My dad took her into the garage and tore her a new beehole. She cried, said he was overreacting, and drove off to her son's, daughter's, brother's house. I calculated how much it would cost for me to sanitize, clean, and replace the things that couldn't be sanitized. Eyeliners, mascaras, broken brushes, broken powder products, whole palettes that had been completely destroyed, etc., and shipping for all of it. It came out to over $750. One of my palettes was $44 alone, no shipping, and was a personal favorite brand of mine. Shout out to Glamlight. My dad sold one of her sewing machines, returned the build-it-yourself dollhouse that he had bought her, and sold things of hers until he got over $900 all in cash. He used some of that money to replace my locks. Only 1 key was made and transferred the rest of the money to my account, which is what I used to get what I needed to replace everything, using my code that all beauticians have to get a small discount with certain brands. I ended up having about $100 left over and used it to buy my dad's Father's Day gifts, and the rest gave the leftover money as loan payment. When my stepmom came back, she freaked out at my dad and I for destroying her hopes and dreams. All I said was, "You break it, you buy it." She screamed at both of us and said she deserved all the things she paid for. I was petty enough to have left her with all the broken and unusable makeup and brushes where her sewing machine used to be, with the cost of each product plus shipping taped to it. She refuses to look, talk, or even be in the same room as me now, and my dad said she had one more chance before he kicked her out for good. So, happy ending, but the entitled mother / my stepmom is still as entitled as before. I always lock my room now and keep my personal makeup in my room. Quick add-on. My dad always told me something. Don't piss off and or mess with the people who handle your food or money. And money and time are two things you should never waste. So when my stepmom had done that and messed with technically my money, he was pissed that she was wasting my money. So he made sure in the end, she only wasted her money and not mine. Update. Holy poop. My stepmom, out of childishness, poured and splashed water all over the fridge. It froze overnight and now we're having to force things out of the freezer to get it out. My dad sent out a group message that something had split and everything was stuck, and my stepmom replied, "You're getting a taste of your own medicine. You ruined my life, so I'll ruin yours." My dad might kick her out now. Update. Again, sorry. I fell asleep and when I woke up, my stepmom wasn't home yet. I asked my dad, who's up making guitar amplifiers out of old speakers, his side job, and asked where she is. He said, not looking up from his work, "She won't be here for a little while. I'm going to let her rethink her choices, then decide while she's gone if it's better or worse for me while she's away." I feel like he's nicely saying he kicked her out, but it also might just be a break. Also, he saved the freezer. Update. My stepmom is upstairs with a U-Haul out front and has her brother, children, and the daughter's spouse throwing stuff in the U-Haul. I went upstairs to find them, front door wide open. I put my non-outdoor cat in my room, thank God she was still in the house, moving stuff to the U-Haul. My stepmom saw me and I bolted back into my room and locked it. So now me and my rescue cat with anxiety problems are waiting for my dad to get home because she is pounding on the door, threatening to kick it off. I have pepper spray next to me and a pocket knife if I need to use it. I'm that scared. I've also called the cops, but they're still dealing with the Atlanta riots, so I don't know about them. I'll update when this is over. Update. Cops arrested my stepmom for assault. She spit and scratched one of the officers. Resisting arrest, trespassing, and theft. She stole money from my dad's toll fund. My dad, of course, pressed charges. The people who helped her move didn't know she was not allowed to come back and apologized. Then cursed us out when we still pressed charges against my stepmom. They left with the U-Haul. My dad and I agreed to pack up her stuff and bring it to her with a U-Haul they rent. So we'll do it this weekend, Saturday, and then spend Father's Day with takeout Indian for lunch and pizza for dinner, while just spending some alone time together. So the end for now, because we all know she's gonna come back. This story should have been a nice bonding moment between them. Instead, it turned into the stepmother turning into a crazy witch. An unbelievably crazy witch. If you had gotten back and realized that they got into your makeup and ruined $750 worth of stuff, or even let's say an equivalent of that for something that you're passionate about, what would you have done? Let me know in the comment section down below. An entitled dad ignores his little girl as she breaks her arm, so he tries to sue Starbucks. Starbucks, mid-2000s, summer afternoon, paraphrased for short reading. Outside my old Starbucks is a small garden with some trees, some flowers, and a 3-foot tall rock wall perimeter. The 3-foot tall rock wall has been neglected over the years and several rocks are prone to uncontrollable shifting whenever too much weight is applied. It is a decoration wall, not a jogging wall. Most parents advise their children not to run along the wall. Until today. A little girl is running laps along the unstable garden wall while her entitled dad is on his cell phone and ignoring her. Knowing that our garden wall is unstable, I ask the little girl to stop. She ignores me, so I advise her dad of the possible danger. "Sir, could you please ask your daughter to stop running laps along the unstable garden wall?" "Why?" "The garden wall is unstable. She could easily hurt herself." "Are you in charge here?" "No." "Then don't tell me what to do." I relay the necessary information to the shift supervisor, who is presently in charge. Shift supervisor says, "Sir, could you please ask your daughter to stop running laps along the unstable garden wall? The garden wall is unstable and she could easily hurt herself." "Are you in charge here?" "Yes, I am." "I don't tell you how to make coffee. Don't tell me how to raise my kid." Minutes later, a rock in the garden wall collapses beneath the little girl's feet. She loses her footing, falls 3 feet, and breaks her arm. The shift supervisor and I witnessed the whole thing. Fortunately, a third member of staff is an ex-reservist who knows first aid. Upon learning what has happened, he grabs the first aid and rushes to the scene. He says, "Hello, little girl, I know first aid. May I help you?" The little girl nods her head, crying too hard to speak. While the ex-reservist is applying ice and a splint to the little girl's arm, her entitled dad ignores them both, choosing instead to yell at the shift supervisor. "Where is your manager? I'd like to know why you didn't maintain your garden wall." In actuality, the garden wall is the responsibility of our landlord and not of the Starbucks coffee company. None of this information is making the little girl feel better. Entitled dad threatens us with a lawsuit for the next 15 minutes, repeating the same phrases ad nauseum. "Where is your manager? Why didn't you maintain your garden wall?" After he has satisfied himself with his yelling, he acknowledges his daughter and drives her to the hospital, barely thanking the ex-reservist for tending to her injury and her pain. The following day, entitled dad returns with his daughter and a lawyer. The lawyer takes statements from the ex-reservist, the shift supervisor, and myself. Entitled dad wanted to sue Starbucks for 5 figures, but in the end, a lawsuit never materialized. To the best of my knowledge, the little girl made a full recovery. FAQs, there were some details with which I didn't want to bore you with, but since some of you asked, here they are. Was the ex-reservist technically permitted to administer first aid? Yes, he was. Were you technically permitted to talk to the entitled dad's lawyer? Yes, we were. Our manager was present for each interview. We also gave statements to the Starbucks lawyer, which was also done in the presence of our manager. What's with your dialogue? No one talks like that. I know, I paraphrased to get the point across. Are you lying? Did this happen? I am not lying. This happened. The dad had ample warning. OP went out of their way trying to protect their daughter, while they blatantly dismissed any chance of actually considering the danger of their kid running along this unstable garden wall. Midterm Project. Several years ago, I worked as a German teacher at a local middle school. I was hired as a long-term sub for a single year, teaching an intro class which lasted 3.5 months. Around the halfway point of each trimester, the students were supposed to be given some sort of midterm, but because I didn't like giving paper tests, I instead had them do a project. Look up one item in a German dictionary for each of the 12 colors we had just finished learning in class, and make a small picture book with 12 pages. And I even went out of my way to cut paper and staple it together to make books for everyone. I had kids drawing their own pictures, printing them out from Google, handing them in early because they did them so quickly, and even competing to see who could come up with the weirdest objects. It was a fun assignment, an easy A, and very informative for the kids. The perfect school project. However, one girl didn't hand her assignment in. I asked her about it and she swore she handed it in, but I didn't have it in my inbox. I searched everywhere but couldn't find it, so I know I didn't misplace it. Her mother emails me the next day and demands to know where the project is. I explained to her that I never received it and therefore couldn't give her a grade until I received it. I explained the grading policy was to lose 10% for every class day that the assignment wasn't handed in. Class met every other day, and that she could hand it in late if she wanted to. The mother insisted I was lying and went to my principal about it. The principal asked me to explain the assignment to him, then rolled his eyes and apologized, saying this girl's mother pulled the same thing with a project the previous year in another class, and that the kid was never held accountable for anything. I explained the grading policy to him, as established by my department, and he tells me to just keep reminding the girl of the assignment, and eventually called the mother and told her, once again, that this is our grading policy and that we can't make an exception. Her response, "But my daughter worked hard on the project. She works hard in class. She deserves an A." I had to laugh to myself. I had almost 24 kids in that class who deserved A's. They deserved A's because they earned A's for handing in A-level work. It's been a few weeks and I still don't have the book in my hands, and now I'm more or less forced to give the girl a 0. Between when the project was assigned and the next incident, I gave the girl at least 3 blank books, none of which were handed in. The very same day I enter the 0 in the grade book, though, I get called back to the principal's office because apparently the mother had called the superintendent. He said, "Just so she stops wasting the superintendent's time, can you just make an exception to the grading policy?" I sigh and agree to do so, and he responds, "When she hands in the assignment, give her whatever grade you think she really deserves, other than a 0. I nod and leave the office. I send the mother an email with our ultimatum. She has until the last day of class to hand in the assignment. If it's 100% correct, I'll give her the full credit, which is obviously more than fair, considering we're a good 15 class meetings past the project due date. On the very last day of school, I get the project. It's only half done. I enter a grade of 50% in the gradebook, and within seconds, I get an angry email from the mother that is CC'd to the principal, the superintendent, and several other people whose names I don't even recognize. I responded with a screenshot of the previous email I sent her with our terms, shut down my laptop, and handed it into the IT office. On the way out the door, the principal actually thanks me for everything I did and says, "She's going to try to get you fired for this, you know." We share a laugh and I leave the building for the last time. You can't get someone fired who doesn't work there after all. Honestly, the project doesn't sound hard at all. For the amount of time that they spent obsessing over this and complaining to whoever they could have just done the book 1,200 times over. Wash your hands, please. It seems that the cafe I work at attracts the crazy ones. For backstory, I work at a cafe that's doing takeout only, and having employees wear masks in compliance with city and provincial orders right now, and for the most part, we're doing pretty well. We've even got to the point of where we hired one new employee to deal with the upcoming summer increase that we think is coming. The person we hired, though, was a huge mistake. We live in an area where it's just where the wealthier and normal areas of the city meet, so we see a lot of both kinds of people in here. It just so turns out that the 16-year-old new employee fell within the wealthier side. As usual, EK is entitled kid, EM is entitled mom, me, man is manager. We start our story off on entitled kid's first day in his after telephone interview. I'm in the front getting ready to work and ready to train him when entitled kid comes out into the front espresso bar rather quick and wearing his mask improperly with his nose not covered and his upper lip basically hanging out. First, you need to fix your mask, and second, did you wash your hands? Entitled kid checking his phone. I washed my hands at home. Okay, the rules here, even if there wasn't a pandemic, are that you wash your hands before starting work. And put your phone away, no phones while you're up front. Entitled kid looking up from his phone. Huh? Go wash your hands and fix your mask. Entitled kid giving me the evil eye. No, I washed my hands at home. What, do you think I'm infected? Me pointing to the health authority sign. Just wash your hands, please. I washed them at home, why do I gotta do it again? Manager cleaning parts of an espresso machine. Entitled kid, you need to wash your hands and wear your mask properly. Over your mouth and nose. At that point, entitled kid grumbles and trudges over to the hand wash sink. Out of the corner of my eye, I see him just wet his hands, shake them dry, and come back. Manager seemed to see much more than that. Manager, speaking in her patented mom voice, wash your hands properly, please. Water and soap for 20 seconds. Entitled kid says, freak you. Manager, dropping all politeness, you're fired. Entitled kid, wide-eyed and shocked, what? You're fired. Return your apron please and get out. Entitled kid, now angry. What? Because I won't waste water and soap? Manager, frustrated herself, because you're being disrespectful. Not only to me, but to other employees. I'm not going to tolerate. Seriously? You're gonna be that guy? Yes, I am. Now get out. Entitled kid threw his apron on the ground and stormed out, but not before giving everyone the finger and yelling some racial slurs at manager and promising we'd be hearing from him. Later that day, we got an angry phone call from his mother. I was lucky enough to be in the office when the call came in, and manager was nice enough to put it on the speakerphone. It starts midway through the call below. So you better have a good reason for firing entitled kid without giving him a reason. I did. Did he tell you? Yes, he did, but I don't accept it. Uh-huh. Entitled mother, silent for a few seconds before speaking. Well? What did he tell you? That you fired him for not washing his hands. He was also highly disrespectful towards me and the barista trying to train him, and he called me a racial slur on the way out in front of a group of customers. So what? I'm not about to tolerate that kind of thing in my cafe. If someone else hires him, fine by me, but I'm going to be warning the other business owners in the area about him. That's libel. Then sue me, but I'm pretty sure no one will want him if he acts like that with them. Entitled mother, getting higher pitched in tone. You're gonna regret that. Uh-huh. My son is in culinary sciences at school. Uh-huh. He's already a culinary prodigy. And a racist. He's gonna get hired at another cafe. Not after they hear. And that cafe is gonna drive you out of business. Okay. Entitled mother, silent for a few seconds. Why aren't you scared? I know how hard things are with the Chinese flu right now. I bet you're gonna go bankrupt in the next few days. This conversation is over. What? My decision is final. Your son is fired. No. I'll be alerting all businesses about your son. No, you will not, you racist slur. At that point, manager reached over and just hung up without saying anything else. We disconnected the phone for the rest of the day, and while we haven't heard anything directly from entitled mother or entitled kid, other businesses have been alerted, and we've already heard that entitled kid has tried to apply at other places, and none of them have hired him on manager's advice. This is just about one of the most spoiled and entitled families I've heard yet. It's almost surprising how out of touch with reality they are. But with that being said, that's all the stories we have for today. So what I want to know is, which of these stories was your personal favorite and why? Let me know which story was your personal favorite in the comments section down below. And thank you all so very much for watching and listening to the Storytime channel. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing and don't forget to turn notifications on so you'll never miss an upcoming video from the Storytime channel. Thank you all again for watching and listening to today's stories on the Storytime channel.